Alright, here we go. Okay, so what's up guys? I kind of played with the settings a little bit. I saw the bad quality in the last video I made, so I was wondering if it had anything to do with my camera settings or if that's just the way it's going to be. If that's the case, then we're going to have to deal with that until I get a better webcam. This one, I don't know how old it is. But either way, like I said in the last video, we're going to start this one off with I'm going to start inking, and I always start with the big brush. As you can see, all I got are the pencils right here. I'm working in a series of 3 original TMNT pictures. The other 2 are already inked, so I'm inking the 3rd one, and this is one of them. That's what it will eventually look something like. Since they're all original, even though it's the same picture, they're all slightly different. Yeah, so let's get started. Usually when I'm starting these things, I get start in the lower left corner for whatever reason. I think it was when I was learning how to ink first. I learned like from tattooing and things like that, and the advice that I was given was always, like, especially for right-handed artists, you start at the lower left, just because I guess because of the stencil and things like that. So just so you wouldn't go over the stencil, I kind of got accustomed to inking from at least starting in the left-hand corner. I mean, this is just ink over paper, so I guess it's not that as big as a deal, you know. If I were to start anywhere else. But yeah, that's just how I start. I got my iTunes playing in the background. I'm not sure if the microphone's picking that up at all or not. So at least you'll have some sound to listen to while I'm breaking and thinking. But anyways, I always start with this Faber-Castell large brush. I forget what it's called, like a matte brush or mag brush or something like that. Just to get it started, you know, cover all the really heavily shaded areas or just way thick outlines or whatnot. I used to start with as you'll learn throughout the videos, I start off with the big one, and then I work my way down with to a brush, and then a medium size until I get to the small and extra small sizes. The reason why I do that is because it's a lot faster, even though it probably still takes me forever to it's a lot faster actually than going from small to large, because anytime I started with the small brush, it always took forever, because I would try to get everything with the small brush, and then by the time I got to the bigger brushes, I was starting to like ruin the lines I made with the small brush. So it was like, alright, what's the point? What am I doing here? You know, what's the point? So instead of wasting all that time, I just told myself, hey, start with the bigger and work your way down, you know. Just try not to mess up any of the thinner lines, or, you know, or mess up the artwork, if that's even, you know, like a thing. That's what I was always afraid of, was messing it up with a big brush, going over a small line or covering something. I mean, since all that, I've loosened up on myself and learned not to be so hard and kind of just take the mistakes and work with them. You know, they're always going to happen. I knew back when, you know, years ago when I would work on something. I drew a lot of Dragon Ball Z and whatnot. If I started rendering, like I would always avoid shading in the faces. I would shade in the body and everything else, but faces I would leave alone because I was always afraid of messing it up. So, but eventually you kind of break out. You risk it. You're like, fuck it. I gotta shade the faces. You know, you can't. I guess you could always just go on without ever shading them, but that's not what I wanted. But no matter how much time you put into not making a mistake or trying to make everything picture pretty perfect, like you drop a paintbrush, you know, or I'll drop this marker and I'll leave like a streak somewhere, and it's like you got to make a decision. Right? You're either gonna start over or you're just gonna have to work with it. And most of the time, I just worked with it, you know. So that eventually grew into just like, alright, you know, just do your best, avoid making mistakes as much as you can, and if you make one, just keep rolling, don't even pause. You know, if you have to pause and take a look back just to see how you're gonna fix it, do that, but don't milk it or sulk over it or anything like that. Nice, I got that new Crew playing in the background. Love this album. Ego Stripper by Crew. It's definitely one to get into. Crew's a rap duo that signed to Strange Music, I don't know, last year, 2 years ago, something like that. Again, I'm just probably not going to make out a lot of this image that I'm working on just yet, just because I'm covering all the heavily shaded parts. Right now I'm working on Donatello in this bottom left corner. It's a close-up on Donnie. When I was drawing this picture, I knew, these are the things I knew that I wanted when I started this picture. I knew I wanted to do a Ninja Turtle picture. Always been a fan. Asked my parents. I had a tricycle, Ninja Turtle themed. I had most of the toys. You know, Yojimbo was probably my favorite toy I had, as far as like the Ninja Turtle ones I had. Had a big old box with all the Ninja Turtle box with Ninja Turtle toys in it. I had the whatchamacallit, the shell raiser, what's that thing called? Their little van that they cruise around in, the old Volkswagen bus looking van. So there's that. I had that toy either way. Huge fan. So after I watched the movie last year, that's when I drew this picture originally, and then my computer crashed, so I couldn't work on it digitally anymore. That's why a lot of my digital, basically all my digital work stopped, except for what I do at my job. Other than that, everything's been traditional now. And then I finally decided, I booked a SuperCon, and I was like, man, I never did anything with that Ninja Turtle picture. So I wanted to get back to it and, you know, finally lay it to rest. You know, you're an artist, so you gotta scratch those itches, man. If you got a picture you really want to draw, just draw it, man. Get it out of your system. You think you don't have the time for it? Give it the warm up 15-minute sketch that, you know, you ought to be doing every day. Don't take my word for it. Either way, you gotta scratch those itches or else it'll drive you crazy. You'll be thinking about it for weeks, like I was doing with this. So what I knew I wanted to do when I started this picture was have Donatello in the forefront, in the foreground. The whole that was because after I watched the movie, you see he had like all the gadgets and everything like that, and you know, everyone always had their own renderings of the turtles, but most of the time they were like, you know, more or less naked. This one they actually, the armor was, it was armor, but it was also like clothing, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense, you know, I could dig it. And I also knew that I wanted, I like this old picture that Kevin Eastman did, you know, with Peter Laird back in the day. It was a picture of the 4 original red headbanded turtles, and you know, standing on the rooftops, all, you know, badass looking. This is before they were the smiling 4 colored turtles, and they had those 4 standing with a billboard in the background of the 4 colored smiling turtles. And you know, so it was like this huge contradiction piece where you have like the badass turtles and the smiling ones all together, kind of like, hey, we're the badass ones. Don't get it twisted. Don't think that those smiling ones are all we are. We're not motherfucking ninjas. Whatever they were saying in that picture. I don't know. Either way, it's probably when the cartoons first came out, so huge promotional piece. Either way, I like that idea, the concept, because I was always a fan of the original 4 headbands, especially when I found out about it. I was like, what? And then you look up the pictures, and they're all like a lot more violent, a lot more graphic and mature, things like that. And you associate that with the red headbands. You're like, ooh, I want to see those. I want those. So after watching the movie that came out in 2014, I got the idea to kind of combine the two. You have the current turtles and what they're doing in this picture. You can't see it just yet because all the pencils are too light, but you got Donnie, Leo, and Raph in like the mid-ground, and then Mikey on Raph's holding up Mikey, and he's tagging a billboard up here, and you know, just tagging a kanji, and you see the well, let me pull up one of these. Yeah, you got it was going to be originally the 4 faces, but they're tagging over them. I just thought it was a cute twist to that idea that I saw. I still think it's a cute idea. So cute. But anyways. So I knew I wanted to incorporate that idea of having the badass turtles with the old turtles. Yeah, I guess that would be the difference, is that this one is the new turtles looking back at the old turtles, when the old picture that I'm kind of referencing from, or got the inspiration from, was the old turtles you know, looking at the new turtles on the billboard. Where this is the new turtles looking at the old turtles on the billboard. Little shoes on the other foot, or whatever, so to speak. So that's one of the things I wanted to capture with this picture. The other thing, Donnie in the forefront, because in the movie he had all the gadgets and all the gear, and he had so much going on. I was like, you know, you watch the movie one time, you're like, I gotta see it again just to see what the hell was going on with these guys. You know, what was Leo wearing compared to what was Raph wearing? What was Mikey wearing? And like, I think what stood out to me was, like, Raph had the sunglasses on his head with the toothpick, and Leo kind of had like a samurai setup, of course. Donatello had all these gears and gadgets and widgets and everything, and then Mikey had like the necklaces and whatnot. So just like all that, it was like, oh, that's pretty awesome. And but I wanted Donnie in the front just because he had all the headgear. He has the bandana, the glasses. He has just that big old, all that metal gear on his backpack, and his staff was like this metal pole that could, you know, shrink or whatever. He could like fold it up. That was pretty awesome. He has like all these different goggles and things, and I was just like, oh yeah, that would make sense. I mean, he is the tech guy. Technically, he's the smarty pants always, the engineer, so I just wanted to capture that. And I was like, well, alright, so I'll have Donatello back there, Mikey rapping in the movie, you know, the front man or whatever. He, since he's the smallest one, have Raph holding him up, since Raph is the biggest, strongest one, so, you know, and have Mikey tagging the billboard. You know, it's like a group effort, and I was like, well, what does that leave Leo doing, you know? And I was like, well, maybe Leo, since he's the leader, he'll be like directing them, you know, kind of telling Mikey what to do, where to go, you know, things like that. Since he's the leader, kind of give him the directorial thing. So in his hand, he's holding like the plans to their tagging, to their bombing the billboard. So I try to give them their roles as well. You know, Raph's a strong guy holding up Mikey. Mike's a little one, but he's also like an artist, whatnot. More of a free spirit. And Leo's the leader. So try to capture that with the image, with this picture too. Was like all their character and what they represent. And Donnie's just he's the lookout. He's making sure no one's gonna spot them while they do this. This image was intended to be taken like at night. So I don't know if you could tell that from me just inking this. I guess if anyone was going to color it digitally, they can, you know, you can color it daytime, nighttime, it doesn't matter. Shoot 'em up, don't nobody move, don't nobody get hurt. Got Crazy Bone Thugs in the background. Killer me, killer, killer, killer me, killer, killer. Anyways, so that was two. Kind of Donnie in the forefront with all the gears and gadgets, close up on the face. You know, you get Leo from behind, so you see the turtle shells and his swords, and Raph kind of standing there holding up Mikey. You see him from the front, and then Mikey from behind as well, with his back to the viewer. And what else did I want to capture with this image? Maybe that was it. No, there was just like I've since then let a friend borrow my sketchbook, and I don't know what she did with it. I don't know if she took it back with her, back to her old state, or if she just lost it. I don't know, but I had a whole bunch of sketches in this little sketchbook that I would take with me when I go to the beach. and in there I had like a few pages of different ideas that I had. I wasn't sure if I was gonna actually have them tagging up the billboard, or just kind of standing in front of it like the old image was, just kind of looking badass. But I don't know. Like I said before, I have well, not in this video, but I've said it before. I have an animation background. I like the idea of trying to tell a story within an image. So I didn't want them to just be standing there looking hardcore, you know. I could do that anytime. You know, so have them doing something. And whether or not it's actually apparent, at least it's something else. It makes me happy. I guess that's all that really matters. We got knives, we got shit to blow you all the time, all the time. We got yours, we got yours, I got mine, I got mine, I put mine, I put mine. So, let me see. Yeah, you can kind of make out Donatello. I think what I might do with these videos is I might break them up instead of recording this whole thing, because it'll be hours and hours. I mean, I'm no speed demon, I guess. Maybe I'm faster than some people. I'm not faster than most. And I might break these things up. Like, I'm using a big brush now, so maybe I'll just use this as like the big brush chapter of this picture, and then upload that video, and then after this do like the small brush, and then after that, you know, medium, fine, small, extra small. I'll figure it out as I go along. That's kind of the idea. You can kind of see it forming, perhaps. Maybe it's just me, because I know what this picture looks like through and through now, drawing it so many times. Honestly, I'm enjoying it. I remember I showed my friend. He came over, and I was like, "Yo, check this out, my latest project." And he goes, "Did you just draw the same thing 3 times?" It's like, yeah. And I wasn't sure how to feel about it, because that's all he had to say about it. It was just the obvious, you know, not like wow or anything. It's just like, oh, you drew it 3 times, huh? I don't know what he was getting at by saying that, but whatever. But I actually enjoyed it. I get to know my pictures a little bit. I've actually been looking at my older pictures now, kind of like, man, I wonder what would happen, you know, ones that I did like digital on, and solely digital, like prints that I sell and whatnot. And you know, because I keep all my pencils, and for most of them I keep the inks as well. Because, you know, you pencil it, you ink it, you scan it in. So I still have the pencils and the inks, you know, all in a portfolio, just available to me. So I'm kind of thinking, I think what I like most about my current portfolio is that I still enjoy my old pieces. Back in the day, I would always be a little bit disappointed in the things that I worked on. And currently, everything I've done for the past few years, I can keep looking at it and still feel good about it. Not necessarily want to do anything else with it, but for some of them now, after drawing this one 3 times, or 4 times technically, I'm kind of like, maybe I'll take those ones I did digital pictures. Like, I have this really cool Thor that I did. I don't know why I don't make It's done digitally. You can see it on my DeviantArt account. I don't know why I don't make digital copies of that one and sell them. But you know, if I just do a whole bunch of traditional copies as well, just so I can get better at my own stuff, you know, understand my own art a little bit more. Just because I draw these things doesn't mean I got it down pat, you know. I draw these things. Kind of flow with it, I guess. You know, you can find out what I did right, what I did wrong, what do I like. Like, what I'm working on right now is the ladder that climbs up the billboard. What I like about it, I like that I just made it solid black, you know. It's not, it doesn't have to be detailed or anything. You could, I guess you can kind of make it out. Maybe you don't, maybe it doesn't matter. Still, I like that. Drawing it 3 times, I can appreciate it 3 times, and then I can move on, you know. You know, just keep it logged in my head. Remember that I did that. Remember to do it in future pieces. You know, if it calls for it. Man, I got so much detail. Trying to avoid running this broad brush over anything that ought not have it. Especially with the way I drew the headbands in this picture. Flowing everywhere. All swirling around and stuff, man. There's so many pieces. I gotta make sure I'm not inking over any of them. At least not yet. These parts get a little tricky too for me. All the little things in the billboards, the frame or just the little scaffolding type stuff. So many pipes you gotta, you know, horizontal, vertical, diagonals. Make sure I'm inking them properly. don't know, just in case you didn't watch any of my older video where I was inking the second one before I started this one. You can watch that one. It was mostly done. I just had to do the super fine detail ink. It was still a 40-minute video, but in there I was explaining how the whole purpose of me doing 3 pictures. One was going to be black and white, since the comic book was originally black and white. So I'll do the black and white inks, but I also add the grays, render it out with some with the gray shadows. There's an artist out there, I forget his name. I think it's let me double check. Christopher Stevens. I found him on DeviantArt. You can find him on DeviantArt. I think he's under as Christopher Stevens. He's another traditional. I think he does some digital stuff, but I'm pretty sure he's the artist that I liked because, one, he's traditional, but two, he works in mostly just grays, like black and gray. And on top of badass artwork, his rendering is pretty cool, but the style that he has for the black and white, what caught my eye was the fact that he I don't know if he used markers, but whatever he used like cool grays and warm grays, which I also have both cool grays and warm grays. I just never thought to combine them. This guy combines them, and it's pretty neat because it helps the image like differentiate. It gives it just that subtle color. Like if you're drawing Superman, for, let's say, you know, the red, yellow, and blue suit. Obviously, and you have the warm grays, cool grays. What that means is warm grays have the warm colors, which are red, yellow, and orange, and cool grays are like the they have the cool colors, which are blue, green, and purple. So when I'm talking about these, they're gray markers, but they have like this subtle color to them. Is they're noticeably different. They definitely produce a different gray look to them. And the warm grays, if you're drawing Superman, you would use warm grays for the red and the yellow areas, and I would assume you would use like the lighter warm grays for the yellows and the darker warm grays for the reds, and so on and so forth. But I mean, this guy renders them out, I'm sure. Yeah, he has it figured out. I don't know his own opinion on his own art yet, but I mean, you ask me, this guy's got it figured out. And then you would use the cool grays on the blue, and even though the picture is black and white, you can see the red and the yellow and the blue. It's really nuts. So for my black and gray version of this Ninja Turtles picture that I'll be doing this weekend, I'm definitely gonna be practicing with that. I've never done it before. Like I said, I work with Faber Castell. I recently got I got a whole bunch of colors, and I got like the big brushes and small brushes. Like, I'm really pushing this marker game. Really trying to get into it. I like watercolor painting, and paints are probably a faster medium. I'll try to get better with acrylics in due time. But until then, I'm working with these markers. And Faber Castell, man, I love this brand. They I got plenty of their warm and cold grays. I hate doing circles, and that's why. And they never come out perfect, which is why I learned to chill out and not take my work so seriously and embrace the looseness. And it's for times like this, exactly. Because normally, if this was like, let's say 5 years ago, I would want these circles to be perfect. I'd be using like a whatchamacallit, stencil. I'd be doing all that. It's just a lot of work, man. So yeah, I'm really looking forward. Really looking forward to using those grays, seeing if I can figure it out and do it properly. You know, I'll probably end up ruining it. Who knows? It's usually how it goes the first time around, right? And got some DMX playing in the background. Yeah. Ride till I die. Alright, let's take a quick look. So got Donnie, a little bit of shadow here. I crept up the left side of the page instead of the bottom. I'll go back to the bottom in a minute. Just get some of these details. Yeah, and I'm already noticing major differences between these pieces. I mean, they're all going to look, aside from the color differences, they're all just going to look different. And that's going to bring a little bit more value to them, man. If I had done it digitally and made, like, a 250 print run or something, it still would have been a pretty awesome picture, but you would have had, like, even though there's a limited amount of copies, you still have only a copy of something. Something like this, no one else is going to have it, no one else is going to be able to reproduce it. If anyone like scans it in and makes a copy, I don't know, even scans don't capture the original properly. keep running up here. No, I'm not going to the bottom of the page. Just gotta flow with it, huh? Right, we got. Where's my dog? There's my dog. Oh. Not bad. Another thing about doing a picture over and over, I mean, not only do you get used to it, even though everything, you know, details are different here and there, even the fed upness, I guess is what I'll call it for now, even though fed up probably isn't the best description, but just being done and just, you know, working a little bit looser. I saved the big brush for some of that. That's one of the problems with working with working from the big brush down to the small brush, is then when you start going over like the, you know, the finer details with this broad, obtuse, you know, utensil. Start taking away from some of the detail that you worked so hard on when you were penciling it. Probably want to avoid doing that. Definitely noticing a lot of differences than from the other two pictures. It's pretty cool. Can't wait to see these things finished. You know, even though I have kind of like the concept in my head, I still don't know what I'm going to be doing when it comes down to like the final rendering colors, you know, that I'm going to be choosing. Even though I know I'm going to be using the grays, cool grays, warm grays, I wonder which ones I'm going to use for the parts I don't know about. Like, you know, like all these extra buildings and whatnot. And all the details, what's going to look better, cool gray, warm gray. I wonder how the other artists figure it out. Just keep drawing, I guess. Figure it out as you go. Leap before you look. Sorry for being so quiet. I guess as opposed to the other video I made where it was almost done. When I'm working with the finer, you know, the last brush, the extra small nib. When it gets down to that point, all you're doing is, you know, filling in the blanks, just covering whatever's in pencil. Whatever's in pencil left over, like you're just filling that in. But for this one that I'm starting with, even though it's a broad brush and it covers mad ground, now that I'm recording this and realizing how quiet I'm being, I'm like, okay, it takes a little bit of thinking, you know, because like I said, you don't want to make any mistakes with this broad brush. It's gonna, the bigger the brush, the more it's gonna stand out, you know. Who is this? Lazy Bone and Mo Thugs. That's the thing. Usually when I'm drawing, I'll be listening to a podcast, but I didn't think anyone viewing this, one, I guess, you know, it's listening to other people's copyrighted material or whatnot. You know, and I was just gonna let those play because that's what I would normally listen to while I'm doing this. You know, I like listening to podcasts. There's a lot of, depending on which one you're listening to, there's a lot of information being shared, and you just have to sit there and listen, which is easy to do when you're drawing, because you're mostly just focused on the image in front of you, dipping in and out of whatever's going on around you. You know, kind of getting lost in your work. At least that's what I do. It's what happens to me. Gotta find a higher road, is it living? It's the only thing I know, is it living? Gotta find a higher road. The good thing about listening to Mo Thugs, a song like this, it's always about bettering your situation. I think that's something I mean, you may not be able to relate to anything specific that they may talk about, but as far as like, I think anyone and everyone could always talk about bettering their own position in any aspect, financially, you know, whether you're pursuing your dreams or not, relationships. I think that's why I like listening to him. It's good motivation. To protect myself, it's most good, baby. It's only love, baby. Look how I shine when I pull up on the screen. I'm a motherfucking boss, not a king, like a king. Anything from the J's on my feet. Flip clothes on my back, shot the girl going wild. Yeah, I know how to act. I'm not a Mac. I'm a thug, me and free bitches, they love me. They know I got my money right. Always wanna help it, nigga. On my kids, when I was knocking later on, pulling on, kissing on, asking they take them home. I tell them later, before I got the opportunity, it's going down. That's like me, a little lady in these fat like y'all. And I might be the devil up. Whoever get up in my car, they gon' have to let us fuck. Before I even let you do my swag, I wanna know what you're fucking with me. I ain't bad. Yeah, this is where the big brush really comes in handy. Not necessarily outlining Leo's arm here, but as far as covering these big shadows. I'm a huge fan of Jay Lee. Anyone who's familiar with his artwork, I'll tell you, he man, that guy works with some heavy shadows, man. Huge contrasts, things like that. And yeah, I wonder if the person who inks his stuff, or even if he inks his own stuff, I'm not sure. You look at his pencils, man. There's a lot of lead everywhere. A lot of just big, solid black areas. You got to get inked in. I love his work. I'm sure a mag shader like this comes in handy when you're working on his.
Smoking on my belly, cause every time I'm taking a breath. White cord business on my feet when I step. Strap all over the side like with a hot was skip. I'm straight, word from the street, with my black beans, banging street. All the cruise control while I'm flipping up the switch street. Creeping all up in the come up on the come up, dog. I think that's all about that whole thugging motherfucking HBG. I'm pull up on the screen, I'm fresh to death. 24 so clean, niggas breaking your neck. I got the thing on my hip to protect myself. It's more thug, baby. They show me love, baby.
Yeah, super thankful that you don't have to cover this much ground with a smaller brush. Just destroy the nib. It's something I've been trying to work on personally, is how to ink with this thing without destroying the nib. You know, because I'll still have ink left, but then the tip of the brush will be it'll just be balled up, convoluted, whatever. And no es bueno, man. Trying to learn how to bring some longevity to my tools, man. I already noticed that even on this picture I have Leo holding his sword slightly to the other direction, so his blade doesn't even show in the front of him, because his body's covering it up, where in the other images he's holding it slightly more to the right, so kind of, you would see it in front of them. In this one, you wouldn't. Even that right there, different enough. These things aren't going to be exact copies as much as you think they are. I mean, they, from a distance, yeah, sure they look alike, but up close, they'll look different. On top of the different colors, yeah. Probably even render them differently. Who knows? Yeah, so I'd really like for this video to come out clearer than my last one. I updated the last one. I guess I had it on like a 640 by 480 setting. This one I upped it to like a 720 quality. Not exactly HD, but you know, I don't know what's gonna make the computer crash or what will or won't work. So I figured I was safe with the 720. It's a bit clearer. If anything, I could always bump it up more, you know, but I'll wait for people to, you know, ask for me to do that before I actually just do it. I feel like something like that would create like huge files and mess up my uploads and whatnot. Can't have that. Can't be messing up my uploads, bro. Leo show so far. Oh snap, I heard this one in a minute. What is this? Already been recording for an hour? Oh wow. Can't believe it's already been an hour. Yeah, I guess so. Oh, sorry guys, I didn't mean to. I didn't think these things took that long, but yes it does. It's another thing you get to learn when you start recording yourself. When you find out how horrendous you sound, you gotta deal with it. Also, how much time it actually takes to do things, man. It's a good way to record record yourself, you know. Nice. Got some resolvers playing. Local big band reggae. Old habits are hard to break. Don't make the same mistake. Old habits are hard to break. Don't know how much more I can take. I just can't seem to get you off my mind. And this is how it happens every time. To be with you is all I'm thinking of. And we won't come back. Yeah, I sing songs to my artwork. You know what you mind, you know what you Yeah, what's funny about this rap, every time I look at him, he reminds me of Death Blow. I remember I did a commission of a Death Blow for this guy a while back. You can find it in my DeviantArt, but it'll be way back there. And I don't know if you're familiar with Death Blow at all. I think Jay Lee, the artist I was talking about earlier, did a graphic novel of him. Also, funny I'm bringing him up. But yeah, if you look at that Death Blow that I drew, man, he was just ridiculously built, ridiculously swole. But it's kind of the nature of the character at the same time. But yeah, every time I look at this rendition of Raph, I'm like, oh man, it's just ridiculously built. He is the powerhouse. take no more, no more, no more. You know what you like, you know what you like, you know what you like. Beautiful song. Aww. Baby, I love the way you flow the time to give it to daddy. Should have tell me how you want. So much foreshortening on Mikey's legs. Gets these, produces these thick outlines. Ooh. Make sure I got everything. wish I knew how to do like live feeds or live streams so I could actually be talking to anyone who may be watching these things. That way, and if anyone ever had any questions, I'd be able to answer them for them to the best of my ability, at least. I mean, not dealing with so much quiet. Another one with this picture that's not in the other pictures. Mikey's got another set of spray cans on his right side. I always knew that was there, but I guess when I drew the other ones, I didn't. I guess I didn't see it. So I probably just drew like his arm in that position. That would explain a lot. Oh yeah, it's Friday night. Totally forgot. It's fight night on Spot. It's fight night on Spot. It's already past. It's almost 1 a.m. I probably missed all of them by now. Oh well. Alright. So yeah, see, you can't make out too much of the image just with the fat brush. As you can see, it's going to be like a whole process. Yeah, as far as the tagging goes in this picture, this kanji that Mikey's putting on the billboard, I forget what it says at this point. I think what I did was, I mean, the way I feel about other languages, I mean, here it's only like something like a stylistic type thing, but in like, as far as writing in other languages, straight up, my whole theory or philosophy on it is, you know, if you don't speak the language or write it, you don't know what any of that shit says. You know what I mean? You could go ahead and think that that kanji that you got, you know, says spiritual or waterfalls or, you know, enlightenment, whatever they tell you it says. But I mean, face the truth, you didn't speak it, the tattoo artist who did it didn't speak it, chances are. So when I do things like this, I don't really pay attention to them. It's more like a stylistic thing, not to do any disrespect towards it. I think if you're going to take it seriously or go so far as to get something tattooed on you, probably learn the language. That's probably sounds silly, like, oh, you know, I just want a tattoo, I don't want to be learning languages. Well, you gotta live with it, because one day you might find out what it actually means, whatever this random kanji means. But I think I might have took the one out of the movie that said family. And like I said, I don't know how to write Japanese or Chinese or any of that stuff, so when you look up kanjis online, the family kanji, and you know, you just gotta use the one that's like most used repetitively and be like, alright, I guess that one's it, by process of most popular. That's the one people are using. It's about all you can do. Unless you speak it and write it. Then you ain't got nothing to worry about. I want to hear something dope. Sweet, some Kiss. Finally, something different. I want you, baby, baby, I want you. So yeah, plus this kanji that I'm using, half of it's cut off. You can't even really see it. So even if it, like, you know, so even people who can read it and tell me, oh, that doesn't say family, that says, you know, pepper chicken. You know, you can be like, well, you can't even read the whole thing, so it doesn't even say pepper chicken really. Alright, I think that's it for the most part, at least for this big brush. What is it, hour and a half with the big brush? See, people think these things take, you know, 5 seconds or something. People are like, I can't, you know, I don't know how you guys do it. A lot of work. And then people are like, why are you charging me so much for stuff? A lot of work. That's why. Old school Snoop.
Looking everywhere I go, I see motherfuckers try to steal my flow. It ain't no pain, I'm a nigga Coolio. Put me up on the game, or just step through the door. My style like a contraceptive. You haven't learned it's the knick-knack paddywhack. I still got the biggest sack, so put the gun away, run away, once I'm back. Wow, hit 'em up, split 'em up. Get close and clip, trying to spit at my motherfucking toes. As long as I rolled you a joint, you's a flea. And I'm the big dog. I scratch you off my balls with my motherfucking claws. Y'all, niggas better reckon now. They know I'm coming from the still east side till I die. Why ask why? You spin it to the D-O-double-G. Why? But it's mandatory.
Okay, I think that's it, at least for this one, for this brush. Oh, no.
Don't quit and pictures ain't shit. Don't diddy don't.
Alright, well, sorry for getting quiet on you guys for most of this video. Like I said, I guess when I'm working on the beginning grounds, I want to make sure I don't make any mistakes, so when I'm later laying down with the other brushes, I gotta be super careful with this one. Alright. Alright, so I'll cut this video off and then I'll start working with the smaller brush. Alrighty guys, that's it for this one. Thank you for watching, and like I said, I'll keep doing this until I get better. Only way to get better is to keep trying, just like this artwork. So don't sweat it. Thanks for watching. Peace. Speakers and tweeters.